keeping track here of these mysterious markings that are popping up in neighborhoods out there, we have another good story here by Shepard over at IntelliHub talking about the details of these markings. Now, this has been talked about many different times. He's covered it several times. And, San Antonio was one spot where they were seeing this in the beginning. And one of the ladies was like, look, I've called the gas company, the electric company, the phone company, all the utility companies. None of them came out and did this. They looked at where all their lines were sitting underground, all of that. They did every logical thing to try to get an answer, and they got zero. What they come to find out, though, is somebody is going around and marking the curbs in front of homes with red and blue marks. Sometimes not just marks, sometimes X's. And it's raised a lot of questions, and people have a right to wonder, why am I being tagged? Well, one guy tries to come out and explain it away, that in his neighborhood they're putting these little markings to show that they stand behind the police officers, and that if you come inside that neighborhood and you want to mess with them, or if a cop shows up, they're going to see that this marking represents that they're police friendly, they're peaceful or whatever. But as they explain in this article, it could be sending a mixed signal here on purpose for whatever reason, to try to coax people into marking their property one way or another. And you take this back to the Hitler days, where these people were separated and properties marked off so they could come through door to door. If you're blue, they're taking you to the camp. If you're red, they're exterminating. These are some of the theories out here, and I know it sounds wild right now when there's not madness breaking out in this country, but just think about it for a minute. If there was planned madness to go down, they're going to want to go through this the most strategic way possible. And when you're sending troops, and it would be in my belief that they would be international troops here for an emergency that was staged through and through, but they'd be coming through and just be looking for these markings and these signs. There wouldn't be a knock on the door if they knew that your house was red. And what happens if a whole street's red? You gonna napalm it? Or what? It's a big task to ever think that any army is going to come into this country and go door to door and get away with this, rounding people up. You would really have to have a catastrophic scenario. And like I said before, with the powers that they have, with everything we've been watching them do, we just saw a severe quake hit Chile. What if one hits the West Coast? What if that New Madrid, which is overdue, finally pops? Bridges go down along the Mississippi. You can't get across it. Anything of that nature. Just a massive event, whether man triggered it or not. That would send a majority of the people out here running to the government for help. Do you see? It won't be a battle against the government. They will be running to them for help. And that's how the end game is going to play out. They're not going to set themselves up to be the bad guys trying to fight every last one of us armed Americans. It's not going to be that way. They're going to try to set themselves up to be the heroes that if you can get to them, they've got food, a meal, a hot shower, come to their camp, you see? And people are going to be jumping in the back of these trucks. And then they're just not going to realize what's happening. Because, for one, they don't know their history. It's going to repeat itself here in this country. Because they don't know it, they're going to succumb to it and get swept away in the madness. But, when you see these things and you do your research and you call all the companies, utility companies, electric companies, all the county and state offices you can contact, and nobody knows or can give you an answer, that is when you better start paying attention. And that's exactly what's happening down here in some of these cases. So if you guys are seeing any of this, just let me know. It's important that we let everyone else know where we're seeing it, and maybe we need to start keeping track on a map. I'll leave a link. It's been Dabu7. Much love.